Would you like to hear the second part of my interview with Jeffrey Morgan?
Brilliant.
He's one of those silly people that has two first names. Oh, like me.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson, Richard James and Chris Dale.
Pod 299.
Pod 299.
Pod 299. That's a bit, what's his name? Richard Dixon?
Peter Dixon.
Peter Dixon, yeah. Great voiceover, isn't he?
Yeah.
Peter Dixon.
I haven't heard him for a while, though.
Has he ever done any Anderson stuff? You think you would have got him in for
Yeah,
something?
he should do something.
Yeah.
He should do something on the podcast. Should we see if we can get him in?
Why have we got him in?
Oh, come on, he'd be a great voice.
Thank you very
that's
much.
on your list then.
Yeah, he's on my list. Yeah, great. Anyway, sorry about that. Hello, everybody.
Do you know who else we should try and get?
Who?
David Dickinson.
David Dickinson from
Bargain Hunt.
Why?
I don't know, he's just kind of got an interesting voice, and I bet he watched Supercar at least.
Okay, David.
Good. Podsterons, if you've got any suggestions for guests, please do let us know. Anyway,
Yeah.
the
Jerry
reason we're
Anderson
asking
podcast.
that
Yes,
is
come
because
on.
this is the Gerry Anderson
That's
podcast,
right.
and every week
Talk
we
about-
have a guest
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah.
Interviewed by you.
Or Chris.
Or Chris.
Sometimes you.
Oh, God. I
Yeah,
can't introduce it that way.
occasionally.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you're Richard James.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm introduced. I'm Richard James. Jamie Anderson.
Yep, me, Jamie Anderson.
On the sofa, randomiser guy. T-shirt.
Peter
Hi,
Dale.
guys.
Chris Dale.
Chris Dale.
Chris Dale. Hi, Chris.
Hi guys.
Ah, there he is. He'll be along later with the randomiser, sits down in front of the randomiser, random episode of Gerry Anderson series, comments, thoughts.
Yeah, and we've got
etc.
Fab Facts and Podsterons stuff as well, because they're really lovely. And we love
Oh,
hearing
second
from
part
them.
of interview with Two
Geeks, Two Beers.
That's right.
Brilliant.
That's-
Do you know what? I'm so pleased that for our 299th podcast, that introduction was so smooth and professional, beautifully delivered, and anyone who's listening to the first time will think,
Wow,
God, these guys really
they
know what they're doing,
yeah.
don't they?
It was a shambles, wasn't it?
But it's too late to restart, so we'll just carry on.
Fab Facts.
Now?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, time for this week's Fab Facts.
I didn't realise we were going to theme this episode as a complete shambles.
Oh, yeah, I think that's absolutely the way to go.
Okay, well, I can
The
absolutely...
one that was the shambles.
I can absolutely do that. So, book of Fab Facts.
Yes.
I flick. Richard
Yes.
shouts Fab.
Yeah.
I stop flicking and read a Fab Fact. Hopefully it's
That's
Fab.
it. That's all you need to know.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, here comes the flicking then.
Fab!
Oh, so I did it again. It was halfway through one.
God, it keeps happening, doesn't it?
Well, I mean,
Sticky thumb.
a sticky thumb, but also there's,
Yeah.
50-50-ish chance of being
Sure,
at the beginning or
I
the
suppose
end
so.
of a
Yeah.
Fab Fact.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
The 299th podcast Fab Fact,
Right,
but not the
yeah,
299th Fab
I
Fact.
saw you working that out as you
Yes,
said it.
I know.
Yes.
You see, I'm going with the shambles thing
Yeah,
yet
good.
again. The book's talking to you. Richard!
Yes, but...
I didn't think you were going to respond. The book, I'm sure you've heard the oft-quoted theory that there are only 7 stories in the world.
That's what they say.
So perhaps we shouldn't be surprised to see similarities between two seemingly unconnected TV series like Space 1999 and the Star Trek franchise.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Well, yeah, I suppose
But
not.
similarities there are.
Right.
Space. No.
Yes, that's one. Yes, one big one right now.
Here, I've got to listen. There's bullet points in this one.
Go
I
for
think
it.
this might be our first bullet-pointed Fab Fact.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite exciting. Fred Freiberger,
Oh, yes.
known as the series killer, I believe.
Serial
by some-
killer.
Serial killer
That's
by
right.
some.
Yeah.
Who produced the show's last season,
Yep.
Space 1999,
Yep.
and also produced Star Trek's final
That's
season
right.
as
Okay,
well.
that's one, yes. Bullet point number 2.
Bullet point number 2, Martin Landau
Star Trek and Space 1999. Really?
was originally offered the role of...
He'd be Spock, I guess.
We've done the Fab Fact on that in the past.
Yes, that's right.
Spock on
Yep.
Star Trek, but wasn't interested in portraying a character who had no emotions.
Well, I mean, that's right up my street. I'd love that.
What an emotionless character. Okay.
Piece of
I mean,
cake.
that's more my role, but okay. Bullet point number 3.
Right.
Space 1999.
Bullet point number 3, please.
Space 1999's concept is similar in premise to future Star Trek spin-off series Star Trek Voyager, whose series premise about a group of people flung away from the Earth with no
Oh.
quick way back home.
Fair enough. Bullet point number 4.
Catherine Schell, who played Maya in Space 1999, was the first actress considered for the role of Captain Catherine Janeway in the aforementioned Star Trek Voyager.
I did not know that. This is
Nor me.
amazing.
That's
Bullet
great,
point
isn't
number
it?
5, please.
Space 1999 episode Guardian of Piri mentions a prime directive.
The Prime Directive from Star Trek.
Well, not the same one, but a prime director. But yes, that's the connection there.
Bullet point number 6.
Excellent. And not only does Commander John Koenig share a set of initials with Captain Jim Kirk.
Oh, yes.
The leader/scientist/medic triumvirate of Koenig, Russell, Bergman echoes that of Kirk, Spock, McCoy.
It does, yes.
Somewhat.
Yes. Okay. Bullet point number 7.
No, there's a but now. But
Yes.
these similarities aside, is there any universe where the two series creators, Gerry Anderson and Gene Roddenberry, actually met? Yes.
Is there?
This universe.
Right.
So now do the bullet point thing.
Bullet point number 7.
Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry was reportedly impressed by fellow producer Gerry Anderson's attention to detail in his Super Marionation series and once shared part of a bottle of scotch with him at Pinewood Studios. Anderson was equally complimentary, expressing his admiration for Roddenberry's efforts on Star Trek.
Well.
I'm not sure it was a part of a bottle of scotch. I think it was most of a bottle of scotch, from what I've
fair
heard.
enough.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Podsterons.
Yes?
Podsterons.
I'm answering for them.
Okay. Can you think of any more similarities, strange, spooky, or otherwise, that link your favourite Anderson show with other series?
Right.
Did Tom Watt from EastEnders make uncredited appearances in Space Precinct?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Or did the voice of Parker, David Graham, turn down the role of Alfred the Butler in the Adam West TV series?
No,
he didn't.
No, he didn't.
But
No.
if you've
Right.
got any that
Okay.
are true,
Yes.
then please do let us know. Podcast at jerryanderson.com.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, yes.
I mean, that was a very strange experience with the bullet points. But
Oh, I quite enjoyed it. Made it more succinct.
did it?
Yes.
Didn't feel,
Economical.
Didn't feel it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but of course there are going to be similarities, aren't there, between two sci-fi series.
Yeah.
But there is all the crossover, particularly the casting of Martin Landau as Koenig and potentially as Spock.
Yeah. Well, and Catherine Schell as Janeway.
That's weird. Now, I had heard also, there's another story about that.
Have you got a Fab Fact addendum?
I might have a Fab Fact addendum.
Oh, we need a jingle for that.
Fab Fact addendum. Boom, boom.
Okay.
I'll
weird.
make a nice little thing to go.
Brilliant. Can't wait.
I won't. Haven't got time.
You should.
Yes, well, so apparently at her casting, at her audition, Catherine Schell was a bit of a smoker back in the day.
Was she?
She was invited in for the audition, stubbed out a fag in a pot plant on the way in.
As you do.
Did the audition, came out to see the receptionist standing by with a fire extinguisher, pot plant burst into flames.
Oh.
So, and she didn't get the job.
So
not a great
What
day
you're
for
saying
Catherine
is
Schell.
that Catherine Schell is an arsonist.
Pardon?
Catherine Schell is an arsonist.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, only unintentionally.
Right, okay. That's the best kind of arsonist.
Yeah,
It's going to be one. So well done, Catherine. Impressive. We don't know if that's true or not, by the way. Should we
No.
say allegedly?
Yeah, sure, yeah, why not?
Okay,
What,
just
she's an arsonist?
Just no, about the pot plant.
Oh, I see. But I don't think she is an arsonist.
That was
I
a
think we should
gag.
make
That was a
clear as
joke.
well.
That's not that wasn't an allegation. That
No.
was just.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on.
Whoops.
I've got no idea how we're going to end this one.
Right.
Do you?
Go on then. No.
Brilliant.
Try it.
Thank you. I've got no idea how we're going to end this
No.
one. So that brings us
Yeah.
really awkwardly and
Yes.
possibly slanderously
Yeah.
to the end of this week's
Fact!
Oh, brilliant. Now,
Fact,
for our
fact.
American listeners,
Yes.
that is
Oh, yes.
British colloquialism for
Yes.
cigarette before we're
Worth
accused of
saying.
anything offensive.
That's right. Would you like to hear the second part of my interview with two geeks and two beers?
Do I have a choice?
Well, you could sit and listen, or you can go and make yourself a cup of coffee and watch an episode of Terrorhawks.
Oh, coffee and terror it is. Have fun.
See you later. Tom and Morgan are two mates who love talking nonsense about pop culture while also enjoying a beer. They've taken their drunken ramblings from the pub to the studio to teach each other about all kinds of films, TV shows, video games, and more. From 80s cartoons to 90s kids shows, action film franchises to cult games, they'll chat about anything remotely geek related. It's Morgan, Jeffery, and Tom Eames. Thanks for coming back.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Didn't traumatise you too much.
No, we've just been having Kip outside, actually. Just,
Have you? Oh,
we
all week?
We stayed there all week. yeah.
Did you notice Station Jim at the station?
No.
All right.
No.
I'll say no more. Just look out for him on the way home.
I'm sorry.
Morgan, Tom, welcome back.
Thank you.
Two Geeks, Two Beers podcast. We explored that a little last week and even showed a clip. It's a geeky podcast for all things geeky. What's the strangest, best, and worst things you've covered as part of the podcast? Tom, we'll start with you. Strangest, best,
Strangest.
and worst.
What's the strangest thing we've ever done? Like, it's normally something that one of us. Oh, well, I did do Tiny Toon Adventures,
Yeah.
The what?
Do you remember the Tiny Toon Adventures?
No.
It was like a spin-off of the Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
Ah.
and you were just like, why are we doing this? Is this geeky? It's like, yes, look how passionate I am about it.
Why were you
Essentially-
passionate about that?
Well, it's just another silly childhood cartoon that did it for me at the time.
Right.
Yes, that's probably the strangest. One of the strangest.
One of the
ones.
strangest.
Yeah.
Just in terms of trying to really stretch the old geek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of best.
Best.
Yeah.
Probably our first episode all about Terrorhawks.
Can't do that because it's all downhill.
And our, it's all downhill.
No, the best one was the last one, surely.
And our Jamie
latest.
Anderson interview special. No, but that Jamie episode was, he's not in the room, so we can be nice about
Yeah.
him.
Did you get any sort of inside information from the son of the creator of Terrorhawks?
You'll have to listen to find out.
Oh.
I think so.
Yeah, we had Nick Briggs on as well.
Yeah, we've had a few. I've had a few guests.
Yeah.
We interviewed Ed Solomon, who is the writer behind the Bill and Ted movies.
Oh, wow.
Which I loved when I was a kid.
Amazing.
So that was, and he wrote loads of other movies like Men in Black.
Oh, wow.
So that was.
How on earth did you bag him?
That was cool. He's just a very nice man.
Yeah.
He just
Wow.
sort of asked, and he said
Amazing.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
great.
terms of worst, what was the one that was?
Yeah,
was
careful
the,
now.
The least downloads.
Yeah.
Now this is unfair. So yeah,
It's not so bad now.
It's not the
quite
worst,
bad,
but
Yeah.
it's the least popular episode of all time.
Right, okay.
Was I wanted to do an episode about Ulysses 31, which was an animated series from the 1980s, which is Ulysses, but he's in the 31st century.
The cracking theme song.
Okay.
Again, great
Right, really?
theme song. Yeah, this is the 31st century.
Yeah, okay.
Ulysses killed a giant cyclone. It's great. It's genuinely,
Right.
yeah. If nothing else, go on YouTube and
Yes.
search for Ulysses 31 just for the theme song.
Okay.
But it seems my passion did not extend
No,
to the wider
sadly.
listening audience.
Because a lot of the time we'll pick which one we're doing, and then sometimes might not even tell the other one what we're doing.
I
and
see.
then so often you'll bring one like that, and I'm like, what's this? Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
okay.
Well,
I assume people know what it is.
Yeah, my brother is slightly older than me, 6 years older. So through him, I got to enjoy a lot of those 80s shows, which maybe you're not as familiar with. You more like me, watch things in the early 90s.
That's why it's a history lesson, isn't it?
There you go.
Ah, every day's a school day.
Yeah.
And was there anything in particular, any show that made both of you, was it any of them a struggle to get through for both of you?
Well, actually, there was one which we recorded, and then I hadn't actually recorded it. And so
Oh,
we
well,
had to do it
we've
again.
been there, done that.
What was brilliant about that one was, so normally we have not a script, but we have notes, and
Yeah.
so if we were to ever not record an episode, if there was ever a technical error, it would be relatively easy to restage.
Yeah.
However, this episode was about those choose your own adventure books.
Oh, yes.
And so what we had done was a kind of almost like a live reading, live experience
Like it.
of choose your own adventure.
James Bond one.
Some might say almost impossible to restage.
It was
Yeah,
particularly
maybe.
good as well, our little adventure that
Yeah.
we created, and then got back home to do the editing, and then I pressed record,
Well done.
but somehow
Degree in audio.
there was no audio.
Yeah.
And then I phoned you, didn't I?
Well, because we message most days. He never calls me, and so if he calls me, I think something really bad has happened. And he's like, "Morgan, I've got some really bad news."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "Yeah, the episode just didn't record." He was
It can happen. It can
devastation.
happen. But you've dodged the question. I want to know, in your opinion, what's the worst TV show ever?
Oh, right.
What's something I've done that you were like, "What? I'm never going to watch this in a million years."
Oh, what, the one we've covered, you mean?
Yeah.
Probably Ulysses 31.
What?
Well,
you saw the clips.
Contentious.
Yeah.
How dare
Wow.
you.
Or the Incredible Hulk
From
cartoon.
from the 1960s.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
With the dreadful theme tune.
Ah.
Oh yeah, no, you're thinking of not the 80s one. Yeah,
No,
the
yeah,
60s Incredible
one,
Hulk.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty ropey, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's not one we can really sell. But yeah.
Almost as fun to watch terrible TV as watching great
Absolutely,
TV,
that's
isn't
the
it?
thing. Even if, I think sometimes we'll go out of our way to pick bad things.
Yeah, quite often we're nostalgic about things that we know are terrible.
That's right.
And it will be just fun sharing those clips and being like, look how bad this was.
Yeah.
Like, that's also quite fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go from the ridiculous to the sublime. Last week we asked for your first Anderson memories. This week we're going to have a look at your favourite Anderson moments, scenes, or characters. So we'll start with you, Tom.
Yeah.
Let's see what you picked.
Right.
There he is, smiley face.
Flaming thunderbolts.
Didn't expect you, sir.
That's obvious. What do you think you're playing at, Zero?
I was playing your video game, sir.
Get out of there.
What's the matter?
I come in here and what do I find? Zero's playing my game.
That's not so terrible. What did you score, Sergeant Major?
820, Mom. And I hadn't finished.
What? That's higher than...
Higher than your best ever score, Tiger?
820? I don't believe it.
He can't lie. He's just a machine with limited intelligence. Isn't that what you always say?
Harsh.
Well, what I meant to say was flaming thunderbolts.
So petty.
You had the whole of Gerry Anderson's legacy to choose from.
That's it.
That one scene from that one episode. Why?
I think it's just certain lines, isn't there, that you just remember for... I mean, obviously, Flaming Thunderbolts is a great expression.
Yes.
Zero's playing my game.
He's so crabby. And I remember we were saying this at the time. It was like, Ninestone's a bit of a git, really, isn't it? He's like, technically not very likable. but you love him for it. But I love just the fact that all he wants to do is play his game and beat his high score. And then Zero just shows him right up.
But it exemplifies the humour that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's not just always
space adventures.
Exactly. No, I like that.
Now, earlier, Morgan alluded to the fact that these days there's more of a community around the sort of science fiction viewers and fandom and so on. But of course, when we were growing up, there was less of that. So were you pretty much on your own enjoying this stuff? Or did you talk to it with friends? Did you have a group who are like-minded or not?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I think it was... I wouldn't say it was a shame or anything, but it was just one of those things where I think you, as you said earlier, you have your kind of... your own little world almost. Like there's also another podcast I do, which is if you want a niche, is called Electric Friends, and it's all about Gary Newman and his music. Which I think
previous podcast guest, big Captain Scarlet fan.
But so Gary was an example of something which was very much my own little private thing. So I was like, I can't tell anyone at school that I'm really into Gary Newman's music. Well, I should have been brave and it should have been fine. But now we live in this world where there's a whole, you can...
Actually, there's something... You say you should have been brave and more open with your love of Gary Newman or Terrorhawks, but actually there's something about keeping things, having that thing to yourself, which is also quite important.
That's the thing. I think if Terrorhawks at the time suddenly became this massive deal, I'd have been like, oh, that was mine.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. Also, you then have to listen to other people's opinions. So there's nothing worse. It's like, I think the best episode's this.
Don't get involved in that. Exactly. No, I was a big fan of Star Trek Next Generation in the 80s and early 90s, and I remember going to see Generations, the movie, at the cinema and hating every moment of it. What are you doing here? What are these people doing here? This is mine.
It's like when your family talk during the Doctor Who Christmas special and it's like...
Absolutely.
Getting it wrong.
That's right. Now, we do have some more questions from our wonderful viewers and listeners in our Space 1999 lunchbox. Come all the way from the USA, this. That's why it's a little battered. So I think there's probably enough to take maybe a couple more each for this week. So reach over if you can.
There we go.
Let's clear the decks.
Take all of them?
Take them all. They've all got to be answered. That's great. Yeah, well done. Right, Tom, let's hear the first one.
So, Roger Morgan says, can you name any show you think is crying out to be remade today, Anderson or otherwise? Myself, I would love to see a modern version of Nigel Neal's Quatermass stories.
Which we did an episode. We did an episode on Quatermass. We talked about why haven't they remade it. I mean, they did. They did that the live episode.
They did.
But more recently.
What's your general view of sort of remakes and reboots? Should things be left in the past for us to enjoy?
Depends what it is, I guess.
It depends on the execution and why you're doing it as well. So if it's just a cash-in, then no. But if you genuinely think there's something new that you could do with the concept, like New Captain Scarlet is an example where some people would say the original is untouchable, but actually... They did new things with the characters. They did new things with the storytelling. There was a whole new technology to explore. I think if you'd done Captain Scarlet with some form of puppetry again, actually there was, as I say, there was a whole new way of doing things. So there's merit in something like that. Definitely.
I think as long as you've got the heart of it and you're respecting the fans and you're sticking to what made the original great, and you're not trying to like completely rehash it.
But I mean, even Gerry himself got stick for remaking Captain Scarlet. So it's his show.
Exactly.
But I think that is the one, Captain Scarlet, that if that should be remade today, because there are so many interesting themes in the original and ideas that new Captain Scarlet did delve into a little bit more.
Yeah.
But actually, I still think this idea of Captain Scarlet, the lead character, is not the real Captain Scarlet. He's a Mr. On duplicate, and Captain Blue has to work alongside this clone of his best friend who murdered his best friend. Like that's so deep and dark and
Isn't
complex. It's like there's a lot you could get into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Question for you though, Morgan.
Simpsons Clips says, "Are you guys aware of Lavender Castle?" So we talked about this in the last episode. Aware, certainly, but probably not one that would be top of our Anderson
it's
rankings.
One I'd want to
delve into some more.
I mean, it's not sort of readily available on DVD and Blu-ray so much as the other series. So.
And also, I think it when it was first broadcast, we were maybe a little too old to kind of be the target audience, and then haven't had the opportunity to kind of go back and revisit. But maybe we should do an episode on Lavender Castle. We'll do them all. We'll do them all.
Yeah. Do them all, exactly. You've got time. Tom, another question?
Yeah. We have John Reader. Hi both. Did your interest include 2005 new Captain Scarlet? If so, were you aware of the original?
So yes. Absolutely. Were you? I guess you were.
Yeah,
well, big time.
Yeah, the original is my favourite Gerry Anderson series. I think again I would have watched it in the kind of the early 90s repeats and just absolutely fell in love with it. I think I talked about this a bit when I was on the podcast before, but I think I was a big fan of Marvel Comics and Spider-Man, X-Men when I was a kid, all those kinds of things. And I think Captain Scarlet is the closest thing to a superhero story in many ways you have in the Anderson universe, where he has superpowers and they all have their own outfits and they're like a team. And so I think that's probably why it appealed to me. And I was aware of New Captain Scarlet when it went out, but I don't think. But it was cut to pieces, wasn't it? Famously, as part of Ministry of Mayhem. So I don't think I could tolerate that. But I've since gone back and watched it in the manner it was intended.
Great. Another question, I think. Careful now.
We have Morty Vicker.
Oh yes.
How would you add a specifically Cornish angle to an Anderson show? Put Tracy Island by the Sillies, have Mr. On's destroy a clotted cream factory, and then horror follow it with a huge jam lorry crashing on top.
Oh, that is offensive.
There are lots of Scottish references, but not Cornish.
Okay, come on, give us your best Cornish Gerry Anderson series or story.
Well, I've been thinking about this, and I think you could do quite a good episode of Thunderbirds.
Yes.
That's international. I mean, there were episodes where there's mining disasters, but there could be a mining disaster in a Cornish tin mine.
Yes.
And they get trapped, and international rescue have to come and.
I mean, St Michael's Mount has got to feature somewhere, isn't it?
Oh, that would be great.
That's got to be a rocket of its own.
And then at the end, you can have Grandma Tracy bringing them out scones with jam, and then cream on top.
Get it right, please.
That's right.
So you're Cornish by descent, obviously.
Yeah.
A proud Cornishman.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
If the accent didn't give it away.
Slightly. Another question there, I think. Got a couple more?
One more.
Okay.
From Steve Bushell.
Yes.
He says, as someone who lived through the 80s, you chose the best decade for all things geek. Thank you, Steve. My perfect tipple is Perry, pear cider, but do you enjoy craft beers?
Well, that took a swerve, didn't it? I love 80s TV. What's your favourite bit?
You like craft beers?
Yeah,
craft beer. What's a craft beer? Explain that to me.
It's kind of the hipster choice now, isn't it? It's just everywhere now.
Yeah.
It's like a good 15 years ago.
Is it like local breweries? Again, our podcast is not actually about beer. It's misleading, the title.
But that's why I stick to the old faithfuls, like a John Smith or Heineken,
Well, did you try the Terrahawks beer?
No.
It was Terrahawks beer, wasn't it? I was checking.
Yeah, it was Terrahawks beer.
No, or maybe we'll find you a case.
We haven't had an opportunity.
Absolutely,
send us some Terrahawks beer and we'll give you a plug on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
And Steve also says, what do you think of remakes? Are they worth it? But I think we've
there you go.
Sort of covered that.
Yeah, that's right. Great. Fantastic. So, Morgan, let's take a look at your favourite Gerry Anderson moment. Now, we've already discussed Captain Scarlet, but there was another show that you mentioned in your reply to me, and I thought I'd pick a moment from another favourite TV series. a shame, isn't
That's
it?
twice now.
Oliver Cotton, Burt Kwok, 1994's Space Precinct.
Precinct.
I don't know if you know this, but I was in Space Precinct.
Were you?
I don't like to talk about it.
Oh, okay. Talk about it later.
But so, what are your memories of watching Space Precinct? Did you watch it all, or do you remember that scene in particular that I chose for you?
I definitely watched it all at the time, and I think I remember being so excited because it felt like this was the first Gerry Anderson show that was being made for my generation, and I feel like there was a real buzz around it. Thinking back, I feel like there might have even been a piece on the news or something about it, and about how the masks worked, and the fact that they all, they had motors whizzing inside, as you well know. I just loved Space Precinct, and I loved the characters. I've got stick before for saying I thought Haldane was cool.
Right.
Like, he was just like slick and a bit of a ladies' man, and when you're sort of 8 or 9.
But watch it now.
Yeah, I know it hasn't aged well. No, but at the time I thought he was like the coolest, and still the alien effects and the prosthetics look incredible.
It was a problematic series in many ways in terms of its tone. Did that make an impact on you at all, or you not remember that at the time?
I think it worked for me. At that age, because I know, like in retrospect, people have said, "Oh, it's kind of it can't decide whether it wants to be family friendly or if it wants to be Blade Runner." But at the time, I think that worked. It had that sense of a kind of spacefaring adventure that I loved.
Yeah.
But also, as I was talking about earlier with Captain Scarlet, it had occasionally those darker moments which made me feel like I wasn't being talked down to, like I wasn't watching, even though I was a kid. I didn't want to feel like I was watching kid stuff. I wanted to feel like I was being treated with kind of respect. There was sort of dark themes sometimes, like psychological ideas in there as well, and that definitely appealed to me alongside the comedy and the great effects. And,
Did watching Space Precinct tempt you to watch other Anderson shows, to delve back into the back catalogue, such as you could in the 90s? VHS, I don't know.
I think I already had been watching repeats of Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet and Stingray. I feel like they were all on maybe like BBC Two in the early 90s. But I don't think when I watched Space Precinct for the first time, I made the connection that it was Gerry Anderson, that it was by, even though it says Gerry Anderson Space Precinct. I don't think I made the connection that it was by the same, because it didn't necessarily feel of a piece at the time. I wasn't aware at that time of the likes of UFO and Space 1999. I watched them slightly later.
Which do feel of a piece, as you said. Both those series.
They do.
Whereas Space Precinct was sort of a world apart, really.
Yeah, I think of it as being almost like a bit of a melding of the two. So you have the Super Marionation shows that do sort of, certainly from kind of Supercar, Fireball, Thunderbirds, Stingray, they all kind of feel more or less of a piece. And then UFO and Space 1999 very much feel of a piece. And then
almost existing in the same universe.
But then Space Precinct is live action, but in terms of tone, maybe feels more like a Super Marionation show. So it's kind of interesting. It's a one-off, but you can definitely see the Gerry Anderson lineage in it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take another look at the two geeks in action. What have you been up to now? Let's have a look.
So in interviews before the rematch, Clobber says in the film, "I don't hate that boy, I pity the fool." The origin of Mr. T's catchphrase.
So this is...
Which he never actually says in the 80s.
Does he not?
He never says I pity. He says fool, shut up fool.
Yeah.
But he never says I pity the fool.
Because I feel like Mr. T is very much like the Bruce Forsyth of his day, where he'd bring his own catchphrases to different projects.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No one's ever made that comparison before. Nice to see you, nice fool. So,
did he do well?
Nothing worse than people laughing at their own joke.
Hey woman, give us a twirl.
We had drunk quite a bit of this.
I mean, you seem to be having a great time.
I mean, that's a great episode of where we did an episode about a real kind of cult geek series The Rocky movies.
Yeah, that's right. Really niche. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
No, but that was because Tom had never seen a Rocky movie.
Never seen a Rocky movie.
No, I don't know
I
how
feel
you
like I
avoided
have
it.
now because we went through every single one.
I've ruined them all for
I know, yeah.
But,
And have you seen every episode of a Generation Game? Though that's.
I've seen more Generation Game. I like a bit of challenge.
Oh yeah, of course, that's right. Yeah, but that's a great thing now. Everything's available, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's changed in the last 20 years. Everything is available somewhere.
Yeah.
So the access to this stuff is so much greater. Yeah. Fantastic. So, where can our viewers and listeners find you? Tell us where we can find Two Geeks, Two Beers and your own personal social medias and so on.
Sure,
so we can give you a follow.
to 2geeks2beers.com. That's TWO.
Oh yeah.
Because we realised we said that all the time on the show. Do people know?
That's why no one's coming to
That's
our
why no
website.
Yeah, 2geeks2beers.com or on all the socials at 2geekscast.
You can also email us.
Yes,
podcast at 2geeks2beers.com if you want to get in touch and suggest ideas for future episodes.
Yeah.
And then I'm on Twitter or X at Morgan Jeffrey.
And I'm at Eamesy.
Great. And do you have any future ideas for the next episode of Two Geeks? What plans do you have?
We're going to have our annual production meeting.
Production
Okay.
meeting. Just where we go to the pub.
I see. Yeah.
But we've got a few big plans. We've actually got a spin-off podcast in the works as well.
Have you now? Can you let us in on a few secrets about
we
that?
could make this an exclusive.
Exclusive announcement, go on.
Yeah. So it's going to be a spin-off podcast all about the music of James Bond. Going through each different theme and the music of each film.
Yeah. Which, again, I'm a massive James Bond fan. Tom is a chart fanatic and has that kind of music history knowledge, so we thought we'd bring those two together. Kiss Bang Bang, it's called. So
I like it.
That'll be launching sometime in
That'll please Terry Adlam. Right, brilliant. Look forward to that. But in the meantime, Two Geeks, Two Beers, Morgan, Jeffrey, Tom Eames, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to the gruesome twosome from Two Geeks, Two Beers.
The gruesome twosome?
Yeah, that's what people say.
The brewsome twosome?
Brewsome.
Two beers?
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Got it. Yeah, great. Yeah. Thanks to Morgan and Tom for dropping by.
And once again, a dry podcast. As in, you didn't give them any beers.
Of course I didn't. That would be asking for trouble.
Yeah.
But you were invited onto their podcast, the first episode.
Yeah.
I've yet to receive my invite.
That's strange.
I was on the Radio Times podcast.
I was going to say, you've been on the
Morgan.
Radio Times best ever thing, weren't you? So
that was interesting. That was fun, actually.
Yeah, but you lost.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up. Anyway, to save the day, I think we should hear from our wonderful viewers and listeners in an item that I like to call the Voice of the Podsterons.
I like that too.
This is the Voice of the Podsterons.
Greetings, Podcats.
Hi.
We know who that's from then, don't we? Because he always greets us.
He does. That must be
Mark Perkins. Well done. Hopefully, I'm sending this in good time to help celebrate all three of you on reaching another milestone pod, 300 editions.
Well done, Mark. Yes, just in time.
Yes. Well, we haven't got there yet, so that's perfect. Wow.
Yes.
2 exclamation marks.
Yeah.
I've been listening since pod 1, aka the prequel pod. Back then, we weren't even called Podsterons. That's right, we didn't have the name then, did we?
No.
And I've loved how it's evolved over the years. It's no mean feat to have clocked up 300 episodes, and even more impressive that you've uploaded one every single week without a break. I mean, that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, once I even uploaded it twice.
You did.
So,
Impressive.
I'm ahead of the game. I've already reached 300.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm looking at you from the future here.
Technically, this is 300. And, anyway, let's not go there. So, yes, in fact, I read a stat that only 1% of podcasts make it to episode 20.
Wow.
So I don't know what percentage of podcasts make it to episode 300. So,
but if 1% reached 20, then ipso facto, 99% could reach 40 or 50 or 100.
No, because 99% are already out by that point.
So only 1% is left standing.
Yes, is left standing at 20 episodes. So I think we must be in like 0.01 or 0.001%.
Also, I just said ipso facto.
I know, that's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I said hence a few weeks ago.
I know, that's so exciting.
Anyway, sorry, Mark. Carry on with your email. I've just been listening to Pod 294 in my traditional manner whilst out for a run.
Oh, not hoovering?
No, not hoovering, running. And I was composing an email in my head as I ran, and is also often the case. Now I'm on my keyboard, I've totally forgotten things that I intended to say.
Welcome
apart
to my
from
world.
Hearty congratulations. Yeah, you're very forgetful, aren't you? One thing I can remember enjoying this week was Chris Dale and David K. Barnes talking about how some people didn't like Captain Scarlet's narrative device of opening each show with the Mysterons giving away the plot by announcing what they intended to do. We've stopped doing that on the podcast, haven't we? Far from spoiling the tension, for me, it was evidence that the Mysterons were taunting Spectrum. So if they succeeded in carrying out their threat, morale in Spectrum would be affected and the impact would be even greater.
Oh, the Mysterons would be going like, haha, told you. We even told you what we were going to do.
And you still failed.
Yeah.
They should have spoken like that,
Literally
shouldn't they?
like that.
Even as a 9-year-old viewer, I somehow felt
We
that this...
told you what we were going to do, and we did it.
That kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect.
that would work.
Yeah, you should play them if they ever bring it back.
Thanks.
Even as a 9-year-old viewer, I somehow felt this wasn't the usual kids program. It was a piece of grown-up drama which didn't talk down to its audience. Well, Dad would have loved that because that was his thing.
Yep.
Keep on podding and never forget what a fabulous community of supportive and inclusive fans you bring together. Well, they bring themselves together, but we're very happy to be a small catalyst in that. Gerry would have been proud. He also would have thought it was weird, I suspect. But
as do I.
As do I think we all do, even the Podsterons. I'm looking forward to Birmingham in July. That's for the concert, partly for the show, but just as much for the opportunity to meet up with fellow Podsterons, who I now feel lucky to call my friends.
Oh,
regards,
that's nice.
Mark Perkins, Podsteron for life.
Yeah, absolutely right. I bet he is too.
It's a life sentence, this podcast.
Here it is. You can't leave. You can never leave. Roger Morgan says, hi guys, waving hands like Chris Dale and wearing the same T-shirt since the first video broadcast.
All right, Roger,
whatever
a bit harsh.
can he mean?
Poor Chris.
In Gap 295.
Gap.
It's good, isn't it?
I think there's another company called that though. So
we can't use it then.
No,
right,
probably
okay.
trademarked.
You happen to ask, what were people's feelings on watching the first broadcast of the Secret Service? We did discuss that.
I think we did ask that, yes.
Well, in the interest of being historically factual, I will try and cast my mind back to the time when I was a fresh-faced 11-year-old. Roger, you were never a fresh-faced 11-year-old, were you? Wow. And the family gathered round the old cathode ray tube to watch the latest Gerry Anderson creation, since I wore specs and emulated Joe 90 in the playground. The Morgan household resided on the borderline of two TV companies, Anglia TV and, of course, Midland ATV.
Yep.
So we did get to see Gerry's series hot off the cutting room table, as it were. On first viewing, the first few moments of the Secret Service, my father shouted in his usual colourful Brummie accent, oh no.
Come on.
Oh no, it's that dozy old coot. Words changed, stronger words originally used. So Unwin Ease wasn't that popular with us, and definitely not my dad. Stanley Unwin cropped up in a lot of comedy programmes and sketches doing his gobbledygook speak at the time, and we hated it.
Oh dear.
So I can see where Lou Grade was coming from when he cancelled the show. Gosh. I recall that I was a bit bemused as a young Anderson fan and did wonder why it wasn't all filmed as an all-new puppet show. I've since warmed to the Secret Service, enjoying the DVD box set more than when watching it on the first broadcast. It sits in that somewhat surreal 60s camp time of spy series like The Avengers, Jason King, and the like. Very much a slice of 60s whimsy that is lost to us now. That's nice, isn't it? I suppose now it can be looked upon as a transitional period in Gerry's work and foreshadowing what live-action series were to come. Yam all right, asking. Which is Brummie, not Unwinese.
Brilliant.
For Are You All Right? How's it going?
Yes.
That's from Roger Morgan.
Nice. I loved your Brummie accent.
Yeah.
It's quite
all
strong.
Right. Quite strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing subtle about my accent.
No, I liked it though. Also, I like the phrase "a slice of whimsy."
I love a slice of whimsy.
Yeah.
It's making me quite hungry, actually.
Yeah, me too. Some nice spray cream with it.
Oh, yeah, it would have to be. I'm imagining like a cream slice.
Oh, yeah.
I'd call that a whimsy.
Yeah.
And then you get your old can and maybe a bit of a while you're at it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Great sound effects.
Thanks.
You're very good at those. Whoever knew that you could do spray cream as well as Terry Wogan?
I'm literally a one-man Big Finish.
Anyway, shall I move on?
Yes.
Good. Dear Richard James, producer of the Gerry Anderson podcast.
Yeah, that's me. That's unlikely, isn't it?
I know.
How did that happen?
Forgive me for referring to you by your official title, but I have an urgent request. At your earliest convenience, please could you rebook David K. Barnes for another session with Chris Dale?
Oh.
Their conversations in pods 294 and 295 were an absolute delight. And I'm sure I can't be the only Podsteron who chuckled all through their witty observations and easy banter. All right.
It was lovely. Yeah, calm down.
Fine. In fact, don't just book them for another chat.
The only comment we got about your Craig Morris interview was, as you replied to your text.
I know.
Chris Dale gets all this
it's a bit hard,
60s whimsy.
Yeah, yeah. Witty observations and easy banter, and we get middle-aged blokes talking about boring stuff. Brilliant. In fact, don't just book them for another chat. Schedule them in for some regular spots every year. Thunderbirds Day, Captain Scarlet Day might be a good start. What do you reckon? Go on, you know it makes sense. Keep up the good work, particularly Chris and David K. Barnes. Keep up the good work, FAB, SIG, Chris Bowden. Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, P.S. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Chris.
Right. Thanks. Yeah.
Well, Chris, you're supposed to be my friend.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair enough. David K. Barnes was fantastic, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Chris and David were amazing.
Yeah, but particularly David.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
David carried it.
Yeah, he really did.
Chris was really the sort of Davy McGee.
Yeah, the sort of Jamie Anderson to my Richard James.
Absolutely, yes. The glamorous assistant who, yeah.
That's right. I think we should have David back for sure.
Absolutely.
Thunderbirds Day, Captain Scarlet, yes, I think he'd love that.
Okay, fine.
So I'll keep in touch with David and see if he can join us again.
Done.
Yeah, lovely. Great. I think that's all for now, isn't it? So thanks to the Podsterons for emailing us at podcast@gerryanderson.com with those contentious comments, some of them. And we'll hear from them again next week. But in the meantime, I think it's time that we saw either Tom or Morgan at the randomiser button with Chris Dale.
Not both.
For the randomiser. I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Morgan, thank you for joining us today for the Gerry Anderson podcast. And of course, that means it's your turn to press the button on the randomiser. We're saving the best for last, of course. You know, we won't tell that to Tom.
No.
You know.
Oh, it's an honour.
You know the drill. Well, indeed it is, yes. So whenever you're ready, press that button and we'll see what you can produce for us today. Good luck. Anything in particular you're hoping for?
Oh, maybe Captain Scarlet.
Captain Scarlet.
Classic or new, I'm not fussy.
We had a classic Captain Scarlet a couple of weeks ago, so I don't think he's going to come up. But what's come up there today?
Ooh, okay. The Protectors.
The Protectors. And it's quite a good episode of The Protectors, in my opinion. It's petard. Yes, this week's Protectors episode takes us into the world of big business. We are here in London. The episode title and some guest actors there. In fact, all of these credits are slightly, normally it's all done straight in centre. Some of these are off centre and on the bottom. It's very interesting, isn't it? You're interested, aren't you? I am. Anyway, the Protectors have been called in to assist
3 months ago, we were about to launch a new product.
a company with a product.
Estimated world sales in the first year, 100 million units.
It's a lot of money for this.
Market research indicated
I think it might be a detergent.
Market, each individual buying on average 3 items in the year.
It's a lot of cans.
Yes, and you may be interested in the gross sales to date. 0.
Well, that's not good.
There must be a reason.
The reason you're here, Mr. Rule. 2 weeks before the launch date, our main competitor, Universal, brought out this.
Oh, it's an identical thingy to their own thingy.
Not much difference.
An almost identical package, 10% more product per item and under our price by 8%.
Swine. There's also a bit missing from this episode on the DVDs. Someone pointed it out to me on Twitter. I think it was a Japanese broadcast or a release had an extra line in here that's been cut from the version that's on the DVD release in the UK. So we have a case of industrial espionage for the Protectors. A new product. No!
I wanted to make sure the same thing doesn't happen again.
Right.
Could be interesting.
So a case of industrial espionage. We have to prevent this from happening again. And it's such a small-scale idea for a story, but they carry this off with great aplomb. Harry's going to move into the office.
Well, if it's an inside job, it means it probably comes from the top.
Right, check the chief executive.
And I like as well that this isn't a sort of end-of-the-world mission, as very few Protectors missions were. It's just a sort of straightforward, let's protect these people and their detergent. It's, the stakes have never been lower, and yet I'm invested. It's strange.
Yes, the Contessa di Contini doesn't exactly have the right secretarial ring to it.
Yes, Caroline is going to become...
Thalamus scrap.
Oh, Harry's secretary.
Oh my God, you dare! You dare! Rather impressive.
And I feel this is, as I've said before, one of the strengths of the Protectors format, one of the benefits of it being so vague is that you can tell any story you feel like, really. I think this was a Tony Barwick script. Yes. Meeting all these wonderful actors, a lot of whom are in nothings of parts. But every single speaking role in this episode has got someone who on their own would be a phenomenal guest star for the series. Yes.
Would you like to add anything, Mr. Room?
So Harry is now sitting in on the meeting about the new detergent. We suspect someone on the board is working against them. And who's this? We have another face familiar to Doctor Who fans. And I want to say that this actor has the name of an Anderson character. I believe the actor's name is John Kane, who played Tommy in Planet of the Spiders.
And don't forget to knock.
And this is, again, a nothing of a character,
Strip out the walls.
but he gives it such life and such warmth.
Cool, pale, green, very restful. Ciao.
And Angela Douglas here, for Doctor Who fans, was later Mrs. the Brigadier in Battlefield. Yes, a slightly quirky, slightly eccentric character that Harry has brought in here. Essentially to act as a tech consultant, I think. It's been a while since I've seen this one. But everyone is very interested in his little box of tricks.
What this is about? Rules, a private investigator. He's here to catch the thief. Thief?
Ooh.
Yeah, the one that sold out to Universal.
Ah, Universal. We hate them. And what have we got here? We're not picking up anything yet. Everyone gets ample opportunity to look suspicious and shifty. The culprit could be anyone in this room. And yeah, the needle swung right up into the red there. Back at Harry's place.
There's no possible doubt. You seem surprised. Disillusion would be nearer.
I can't remember the name of John Kane's character here.
I'll move my truck in there tomorrow and clean the place up. You may get a green horse yet. What? It's a psychological fact. Green for peace and tranquility. Think green, friends. Ciao.
He doesn't exactly inspire me with confidence.
It's an odd character and an odd performance, but I really like it. So yes, here we have some more actors.
Jones, all right.
If you were like keeping track of Doctor Who actors in this episode, you could have a checklist. You've got about a dozen names.
With another man.
We have Milton Johns, who was in Doctor Who a couple of times.
His name is Harry Rule.
In The Enemy of the World and Invasion of Time. And here we have an actor who, I was going to say I can't remember his name, but I can remember his name. This is Mark Jones, who played Keeler in The Seeds of Doom. And it's a brilliant performance in The Seeds of Doom. I also love Milton Johns in pretty much anything I've seen him in. He's got a wonderful line in oily, smarmy, sometimes downright strange people.
Narrow it down to the apartment.
I'll check.
But this tech guy that Harry has brought in has done very well to track down the source of the bugging. There is some kind of bugging in the office.
The exterior. There has to be a warm, vibrant woman. I can tell by your eyes. Excuse me. Harry, fourth window along from the top right-hand corner of the block.
Okay, got it.
Yes, Paul is on the case. We need a bit of an action scene now. We've had lots of scenes in boardrooms. Let's get some location running around going here. I wonder how many of these buildings are actually still standing. I would suspect probably there's been some redevelopment work there. But already, Milton Johns and Mark Jones, is that the name I said, have moved out. Here's another actor. This is Basil Dignam. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He played the cabinet minister in the first episode of UFO. He also holds the record for appearing in the most episodes of ITC action shows. I want to say he's in 25 different shows. So yeah, he was in everything. Oddly enough, I don't think he was ever in Doctor Who.
Is often not a bad basis for a business
Anyway, Paul is keeping an eye on Scudder. He's made contact with
Scudder.
Someone.
Industrial spy. Professional.
Who's the other man?
Charles Angleton, chairman of Universal.
Know thine enemy.
That should be enough.
Anywho, what have we discovered now?
There it is.
A bugging device of some description? Oh dear.
Incredible. Scarcely bigger than a button.
One in here and two in the boardroom. Very sophisticated. Can be activated by remote control, virtually undetectable.
And capable of transmitting every word. When were they planted?
There's no way of telling. It could have been put in when the block was built. The listening post is an apartment over there. Add to that a radio mic and a camera capable of photographing the time on your watch. You're all set.
Except for one factor. The inside man. Spy in our midst.
So, who could that be?
Ah, Miss Glass.
Well,
Mr. Lee.
will it be Ralph Bates?
Your Lord and Master not around, then?
No, I don't think it
He's
is.
with Mr. Wyatt.
I do like as well, sometimes you get with the second series, the Contessa assumes cover identities. I think one of my favourites is in Sugar and Spice, where she's she pretends to be the housekeeper. I think she gets a new hairstyle for that. Anywho, who's this now? Oh, this is Scudder. He's back on the scene. It's now night time. And he's got a very early mobile phone there. Where's this? Milton Jones. No, not Milton Jones. That's the comedian. I always get the two names mixed up, even though they're two completely different people. Milton Johns is sneaking around outside. Is this the big business building?
Hi, May. Could I speak to Mr. Brightwell, please?
There's no one here. They've all gone home.
All right, so they're establishing that the building is empty, I think. Oh right, no, they're using it as a distraction while Milton Johns sneaks in. Yes, so many wonderful actors in this story. And it's like, as I said, the stakes of this one are so small scale, and you just think, why have they packed it with so many classy actors? Even just getting one of these people would be such a coup, because they're all so brilliant. And yet, for some reason, they've just crammed them all into this single story. So now, Milton Johns has gone in to, I think, install a replacement bugging device, perhaps? And we are at dinner with the Contessa and Ralph Bates. I think we're supposed to believe that he is possibly in on all this naughtiness. But he's not, you know. I don't think so, anyway.
For almost a year now, I suppose.
Very astute man.
Do you think so?
Wow.
He then spent the next hour pumping me about you.
Of course, you spilled all the beans.
Oh, naturally.
Some nice lighting there as well, that green coming through the... reflected through the window. I like the outside backdrop as well.
Was it possible?
I check Weston out. He's been with IMA for 25 years, a loyal and trusted servant, pillar of society, but he wants to retire. So selling a few industrial secrets might provide a nice nest egg for his old age.
Yes, we've got no shortage of possible candidates here for the naughtiness, including Mr. Sontaran, Mr. Dalotek here. I can't remember who the culprit is revealed as. I want to say that it isn't.
I'm told that we're now secure.
That's right, Cameron.
Not that I understand much about bugging devices. It's way over my head.
There's really a question of there.
Although last time we saw him in an Anderson episode, oddly enough, he was dealing with a bugging device in the form of the one that the aliens dropped.
Oh, don't give me that innocent look. I spend all that I earn, and more. A fact that you're aware of, because I checked that you checked.
Quite a lot of people do.
Be seated.
Oh, is this the big reveal?
Gentlemen,
or another meeting?
I have decided that we will meet on Monday.
Yay!
Will everyone be ready? As they'll ever be. Mr. Rule.
All right, then on Monday, each of you will come prepared with your various facts and figures. I'm well aware that a lot of this data is public knowledge. But the vital decisions, the launch date, and the price will be set in this room.
Ah, so no one on the outside will know.
or down.
And thus if it leaks,
Now,
it's someone in this room.
you will give your attention to this.
Someone with an amazing tie. They have some amazing ties around this table.
It destroys papers, drawings.
Cool. I call it a shredder. I think it might catch on. Wow. Oh, it's burnt it. Okay. My goodness. What will they think of next?
We've got men on all the elevators. Once the meeting starts, no one will be allowed past the 10th floor.
Good.
See, this is quite rare for the Protectors in the second series. Normally, it's just the three of them. To hear Paul say, we've got men. We've got men all over the place. You won't see them, but they're there. We can call on men whenever we feel like it.
Clever, resourceful, and doesn't give up easily.
You can rely on that.
Ah, here comes the cleaning lady. Is she in on the scheme as well? Oh, is she gonna unplug the shredder?
Hello?
Yeah, so what's going on now? Ah, okay. Naughty Milton Johns is testing his surveillance device that he attached in the telephone exchange.
It works even though she's put the phone down.
Yay! They can hear the
Marvel of
vacuuming.
modern science.
Right, so they'll hear everything that goes on in that room. And that makes them happy.
Well, the brains will be gathering just about now.
Yeah. Is there anything coming through yet?
Clean.
I think that's absolutely all. Right, let's get on with it. Alec, let's hear you first. I think that's absolutely all.
So it's time to decide the price for our new detergent. Since that is the most exciting scene in the episode, Harry's going to sneak out now. This mobile phone must have looked so cool and so impressive when they filmed this.
That was it. They can't be far. Right, let's go.
Might be worth quite a bit of money today as well. Anywho, Paul and Tommy, not Tommy, are moving in.
Something wrong. It's not working.
To oh yes, they're going to corner our two bad guys here. And it's a lovely car chase here, including some very dangerous driving on the pavement. Several stuntmen swerving for their safety here.
Greetings. Got something of yours. Thought you might like it back.
Aha. Of course, he'll deny all knowledge.
So we can start the TV campaign early March.
Yay!
All right, let's finalise the launch date.
So everything's all right,
March
I
the
think.
1st.
No one has any objections? No? I think we're good to go on the new detergent
Well,
front.
gentlemen, I think it's been a successful meeting.
John, there's still the question of the price.
Ah, yes, the price. I think we can go on these figures.
What's the price?
20 pence. What's the figure, gentlemen? 20 pence.
20 pence. There we go. It's down in writing. So we've got to stick with that now.
Your health. Cheers. Thank you. Well, the die is cast.
Ah, but I don't think they're going to stick to that. I think they're operating on the basis that the 20 pence cost has been leaked, and they might just do a very sneaky thing of upping the price once the opposition decide to, or even lowering the price, I should say, once the opposition launch their product. say it's all gripping stuff. Yeah, the plot is a bit ho-hum, a bit with this, but I just adore the guest cast. Oh, wouldn't you know it? The cleaning lady was in on the whole thing. Isn't it always the way? Here's Basil Dignam on a very foggy day. Who's this driving out to meet him? It's Scudder.
Morning. You wanted to see me? Yes. Well, the information. Launch date and price as promised.
Wow.
This time I thought it might be worth, say... I don't haggle with people like you.
Oh, well. We'll discuss the price later. So he's got a briefcase full of money out of the deal. Not bad for handing over a piece of paper that says 20p. But here is where the episode title comes into play. As Basil has himself a nice drinky in a fancy place.
I thought you'd be celebrating.
Scudder's come to join him for some reason that I can't quite remember.
You invited me here, right? What are you talking about? I got your note. Good evening.
There's a third party at work here. And his name is Harry Rule.
Recognize? It's taken 3 months.
Oh,
Sit down.
3 months. This story is taking place over quite a long period of time.
I read by the trade papers that your company plans to launch a new detergent next week.
What are you driving at?
You beat IMA to it again, huh?
Yeah.
How much has it cost you so far?
I'm not sitting here answering.
2 million?
What price are they going to offer this time?
Cancel.
What? You must be insane.
Cancel?
Why should Mr. Angleton do that?
Because IMA goes on the 1st.
Ooh.
You think you know their selling price?
I'm leaving.
Well, you don't know it. Because it's not 20 pence.
It's not 20 pence. Here it comes.
It's 15.
Boom!
15 pence. Shattering, isn't it?
Pence. Take that, Basil Dignam. And
You see,
Scudder.
we allowed you to steal those secrets because they are the wrong secrets. And the wrong figures. They're plants.
And we will all enjoy our 15p detergent.
Go ahead.
While you can feel sorry for yourselves.
Or... you can cancel. I think the word you're searching for is petard.
Yes, indeed.
To wit, you have just been hoisted.
Wow. And with that exit line...
I imagine you gentlemen have a great deal to talk about.
Harry's out of there.
Excuse me.
Having saved Ian Cuthbertson's detergent and presumably the company, and thus ensuring housewives everywhere can get a sensibly priced detergent for a change. And that was petard. As I said, the story, the stakes have never been lower for the Protectors. But look at that cast list. Look at all those names. That is a fantastic guest cast. But anywho, I hope you enjoyed Petard as much as I did.
The Protectors. Petard.
Nah.
Or should I say petard?
Yes. As in Captain Jean-Luc Petard. Yeah. No, Protectors just doesn't interest me.
I know it doesn't.
Well,
not even
fine,
at all.
isn't it?
Not even
No.
as a slice of 60s whimsy.
I like the 70s
Yeah,
whimsy, but I like the dog.
Right,
I like
yeah,
Harry
of course
Rule's
you do.
dog in the opening
Of course
because it's
you
a bit like
Yeah.
the late Eric
Oh.
and now the current Rodri.
Right, you're right. Wow, you move on quick, don't you?
Well, no, Rodri the puppy arrived before Eric passed away, so...
I apologise.
Yeah, in fact, sorry, Podsterons, if you didn't know that Big Eric had died. It's very sad news. Poor old boy. But, yeah. No, I really...
Keep it light.
I am keeping it light. No, I could really take or leave the Protectors. I'd probably leave it.
Right.
But thanks, Chris, for watching it. I know that some of you love it.
Yeah,
but
they
that's
do.
the beauty, isn't it?
Yes. Exactly.
You enjoy the randomizer whether you like the show or not because
yeah.
of Chris's fine contributions.
Yes, absolutely.
And then some people might go, oh, I quite fancy watching Protectors now.
Petard.
Not many of them.
And they'll be hoisted by the Petard.
Hey!
I wonder what he'll be watching for the 300th podcast.
I don't know because it's random.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah, fine. I wonder what we'll be doing for our 300th podcast. We don't know, because that's pretty random as well.
We can genuinely say we don't know right now because...
Yeah, got a few plans, but they may not come to fruition.
Yeah,
so
best laid and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, well, you have to join us next week to find out, won't you?
God, that's next week.
Yeah.
Phew.
See you then.
We better be celebratory. I'll certainly will be.
Best. Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
1. Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Is there a small chance that we might just end up in this room again, doing the same thing as always?
A pretty big chance.
Pretty large.
Of that. If that were the case, I might think of some special things to mark our 300th.
Decorations?
I might not turn up, for example.
Brilliant. Well,
how's that?
We just get the AI in, won't we?
Oh, yeah.
Or
No, I will turn up.
Or we'll get a Golden Boy Chris Dale in. In fact,
no.
Why doesn't Chris be your bit?
No, I'll do it. No, it's fine. I'll be here. I'll be here for the 300th, yeah.
You sure?
Absolutely, yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here early if you want. I'll set up and...
Why are you suddenly so...
Well, because I want to keep my job.
Oh, I see.
Got bills to pay.
Fair enough.
See you then.
Okay. See you for a celebratory 300 or not.
Yeah. Bye.
Cheers.
That was an Anderson Entertainment production.